We are live, and welcome to the Hero Complex. I'm your host, Joshua, and my co-host is TT.
TT. Hey
You
y'all.
can you can find me on TikTok at Quantum Traveler One. You can find TT at TT Reacts, and you can find both of us at Hero Complex 20. So if you message or comment on that page, you can find us both. And today, this is a very special episode because this is the second time we've recorded it. Um, Today we have with us Pastor Greg Hartman. Greg, how we doing today?
I'm good. How are you guys? I'm glad to be here. Since you're throwing where you can find you guys, I'm Pastor Greg H on TikTok, and then I have a Facebook, Pastor Greg Hartman, Hartman. If you want to find me, um, where I post my pastoral stuff, and a YouTube channel, Pastor Greg H. No, Pastor Greg Hartman. I have the whole name there.
So today we are going to discuss Judas by Boom Studios. There's a big old glare and you can't see it. But anyway, um, it's reflective. That's why I went fancy and got the I'm bougie with my comics, kind of like TT is with her water.
And the crown.
And the crown.
In front of my people,
Well, they're mine too. So today we are going over Judas, published by Boom Studios, written by Jeb Lovelace, and art is done by Jacob Rebelka. This was actually published in August of 2018. So just a short synopsis of the story is you are actually going through the path of Judas Iscariot. Now, we have been told several different stories of Judas, so that's why we have Pastor Greg here, because he actually read the story. He's a fan of comic books for a long time now, and he is actually going to give his fan perspective, and if he doesn't mind, he'll give his actual professional, words are hard, perspective on the character and the actions taken in the book. So, TT, did you get a chance to read this?
absolutely.
Okay, since how me and Greg have already talked this offline, and we're going to cover what he and I thought. What did you think of the book?
Look, ooh, I almost lost my crown. 'Cause dramatic, the dramatic head top. Look, first of all, okay, I'm gonna preface this entire conversation with the fact that I'm an atheist. Okay, so to me, the Bible and the stories in the Bible are kind of one-sided, and they are just they're magnificent stories. It's amazing, but to me, it's always in the God-like perception, if you will, right? Because they're trying to get you to do
Mm-hmm.
uh, the things to get you to heaven, correct? This story, okay, I've never felt so validated in my life. Okay. Just, yo, if y'all have not have y'all watched it, if y'all have, somebody needs to make it a movie of some sort, even if it's like a small movie, because with a lot of our comic books and a lot of our stories and our movies, etc., we have this generic determination of who's going to be the good guy, who's going to be the bad guy,
Mm-hmm.
all the time. So anybody who knows anything about religion always puts Judas as the bad guy. He's always the bad guy. Jesus is always going to be the good guy, right? No one thinks about the fact that being good versus evil is pretty much a perception thing, right?
Right.
It's about you stand and the reasons you're doing the things you're doing them. The fact that it questioned free will, the fact that it questioned the predetermination um, aspect of the whole thing, and it put some things into perspective as far as I know a lot of us when we get older we question, well, if he already knows what I'm gonna do before I do it, then I don't have free will, right? That means it's already predetermined. He knows what I'm going to do. So it spins it to a way in a way that it makes you think deeper into the concept of free will in general.
Right.
Like, you all. Why the people who created this are genius. Absolutely genius. It doesn't matter if you're an atheist, it doesn't matter if you're a Christian, it doesn't matter if you're a Catholic, in any of that. If you read this for what it is, you are going to take something away from this comic.
Oh yeah, definitely. It and it, kind of when we've all had the conversation of the Batman White Knight in our own, personal chats. Um
Mm-hmm.
and I covered this in the actual show on the audio podcast. Like stories like this are my favorite.
Yes.
30 plus years that I've been collecting, and I've leaned toward these stories as of the last 10, 12 years because it does not make me question my loyalties or my morality or anything like that, but it does gray the lines
Yeah.
between the whole good and bad dichotomy or the good and bad kind of structure because life isn't black and white.
Right. It solidifies that life is not black and white. Right.
Our heroes and villains shouldn't be black and white.
That part.
Case in point, the MCU, Thanos. His methods might have been bad, but his reasoning was kind of sound. Overpopulation tends to overuse resources. This is why we have deer hunting season in the South. Overpopulation causes problems in the communities or in the environment. If you have too much of one thing, everything else will be sacrificed or everything else will be of detriment. So, and my point is, books like this and Batman White Knight, it makes you question that because you don't actually have to center on the fact that this is about people in the Bible. You don't have to be a spiritual person. You don't have to be a church going person. You can actually read this and take the whole religious aspect out of it. All because it has Jesus doesn't mean you can't dislike it. You can follow the story and go, wow, and then have a conversation. You can actually have conversations with your friends that you have never had, and it all stemmed from a comic book.
That part.
So, and
I dig it.
I know Greg's biting at the bit because I know Judas is his favorite character. So, Greg, tell the people what you thought of Judas.
So I have for a long time wrestled with some of the things TT just brought up about Judas. Um,
Right.
Judas, one of the ones I've been known to preach sermons that we are all Judas. In all the complexness that is, I will also be one that will say, I don't think Judas is in hell. Um, I don't put him there because of a lot of the same reasons of free will versus faith versus the character of Judas, be it in the comic, be it in plays like Jesus Christ Superstar, because really that musical is the passion from Judas's perspective. It's really Judas's story that Jesus Christ Superstar is telling. Um, so I just love this. I have a book that I'm reading that actually lifts up Judas as the most faithful disciple, um, because he was able to do what no one else would, and that was the betrayal, the handing over of Jesus, because it had to be done. So really, I really appreciate a different take than what we usually see Judas. I will say, personally, I think Judas gets a bum rap. I
In
think
real
Judas
life.
is painted the way he is painted by the writers of the gospel and the book of Acts, because they want to be able to point and say, at least I'm not that guy. At least I'm not as bad as him. I'm not
Right.
Judas. Um, and I think the church, Christianity, society, because Judas has become a larger than religious figure. you know, we refer to people that betray us all the time as Judas, and
Right.
that doesn't matter if you're a faithful person or not. Uh, so I think we see that because we need somebody to point our fingers to and say, well, at least I'm not like him. And think I think that's what happened to Judas.
Scapegoat, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah,
Which and that is covered, that is spoken on in the book by none other than Lucifer himself.
Oh,
And we can get on that now. I would like to, instead of going through the whole story and just pick out the certain parts that spoke to you the most, as you know, the host of the show, um, and just let us know or let the viewers know that of how that resonated or how you identified with those. And to the viewers that are watching, we don't really want to spoil anything because this is a really good book. We want
mm-hmm.
you to read it for yourself, gain your own perception and your own opinion, and then, shameless plug, go to the Discord, join the Discord, and then we can discuss it. And if so, um, we can put past stories that we've covered, like the Last Ronin, the Soverse. I'll put Judas as a chat channel, and we can discuss those respective titles for a determined amount of time. But yeah, Greg, you want to go first?
Well, can I just want to add
Yeah,
just one
go
thing.
ahead.
I wouldn't be doing my due diligence if I didn't point out some of the scriptural references
Mm-hmm.
that they use. In my professional opinion, if you will,
Yeah.
um, weren't the best applications of them. Um, for example, when they show what they kind of paint as a demon in here,
Yeah.
they're quoting the description of an angel.
right.
That, so, like, if you don't know that, that's what's going on. And then the Isaiah scripture that they're quoting is often a passage that is referenced directly to Jesus. So if you don't know that, that would be something I would really pause people to be aware of. Is what is go look up the scripture and see what they're talking about. Um, so that's really the only qualm I really had with the book. Is just some of those applications were a little bit off.
Well,
Um,
and I do have an opinion on that specifically because we talked
Me
about this
too.
the last time, and the way they used it in that, they were referring to Judas, but in the Bible it refers to Jesus. And I think we actually talked about this before, is that Judas and Jesus in this story are two sides of the same coin, where, spoiler alert, Judas is the chosen one for hell and Jesus is the chosen one for earth. So they
right,
are
right.
same roles, different locations, and that just opens my ADD brain. Be like, how does Lucifer feel about that? Like,
Right.
was
My my ADHD brain drew a parallel. I realized that they were describing an angel
mm,
when they were describing the demons,
mm,
and during that description, they were also talking about the plight and what Judas was going through once he realized where he was, so on
right.
and so forth. So my ADHD brain drew a parallel and was like, well, are they are they alluding to the fact that the demons here are fallen angels that have been sacrificed for the greater good? So like I I was out here. Like I read the same pages 8 times, Josh. I was out
Well,
here
that's the sign. That's really the sign of a good story because you actually want
right.
to absorb that information. And I don't want to make it seem like we're like bougie and trying to make a comic book seem better. But Jeff
It was
Loveness is one of the greatest writers, one of the best writers I've read in recent days. And the way he depicts this, the fact that he can use, or it's, I don't think it takes that much, but I'm not a writer, so I wouldn't even, that's like money quarterbacking. But the way he uses some of the scriptures and trying to, enforcing you to basically make that connection and kind of opening that door. It's not like hitting you in the face with it, but it's leaving the door open a little bit to where you see something. You're like, hey, wait a minute. Let me, so to speak, pull at this string a little bit and see where it takes me. And that's kind of what I got out of the whole story, especially with the conversation between Lucifer and Judas. When Lucifer, basically what you touched on, Greg, was God needed a scapegoat with me, Jesus needed a scapegoat with you. So how fair is that? And then that drove Judas to go to Jesus and be like, did you know? Did you know this was going to happen? And how could you not tell me? Because as you're walking through, it's not like the behavior of him betraying Jesus is not indicative of his actions when he's down in hell, or his actions when he's on earth. Because I think he helped a hungry man and handed him bread. He helped a sick woman, or his mother. He cared for his mother from sundown to sun up. And he basically cared for people while he was there, but yet his one action, which is another thing, you could do a lifetime of good, but that one wrong thing could cost you everything. And it's like I said, it's not a black and white good and evil story. It's life is gray, and we can make all the right decisions. And Greg, you could probably speak of this. Even as a pastor, there's moments where you're just like, man.
And we have to remember, we don't know Judas's childhood.
No,
the scriptures don't speak to that.
Yeah.
And there's only, I think it's 16 verses that through the entire New Testament that Judas is referenced in or is named in.
Mm-hmm.
16. So it's not like Judas, as far as biblical figures in the Bible, does not have a huge block of time.
Yeah.
Now, he's a pivotal character because of what happens, but he's not mentioned that often in comparison to others.
Right.
So I think that's, sometimes we just have to name that and recognize. And Josh, when you brought up the whole Judas asking Jesus.
Yeah.
You have that scene also, like I said, in Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yeah.
Where they're at the Last Supper. And they're going back and forth, and so it's a great thread to pull on.
Right.
To think about.
Well, and then the timing of this whole story kind of helps you put pieces together, because you have, and this is what I got, and I guess I'm right, but you have the crucifixion, and then 3 days, and then Jesus is resurrected. So those 3 days is where I view that this happened, because I do believe Judas took his own life on the day of his crucifixion, correct? Or
shortly thereafter.
Yeah. So and that basically helps you kind of piece together what happened. But and the point is, why did Jesus go to hell first? Why did he make a detour? And T, I want to hear, because I know you got an opinion. So,
but I can't think of how to say it without spoilers, though. Oh, I was juicy mouthed. Yeah, help me, Jesus. I don't know how to say how excited I was about this particular section of the comic without spoilers.
Well,
so we're gonna start this back to me, because
spoiler alert. You might hear stuff, but we still want you to read the story and get your own opinion. That way, if you have an altering opinion of myself, TT, or Greg, or anybody else in the group or in the Discord in the Hero Complex, then it's just healthy conversation. It's creative conversation. So go ahead. Spoiler warning has been had.
Spoiler alert. So here's my thing, okay? So when you read this book, please go in with the open mind first off. Second, Jesus goes to hell because he has forsaken Judas. I'm going to repeat that. Jesus goes to hell. Jesus, the Son of God, the big man's number two, okay, went to hell because he had forsaken Judas. Because Judas could not understand why it took that one act to end up where he was. And then to find out when he's there from Lucifer himself, who is, of course, doing what everybody. And here's another thing. Okay, we'll talk about Lucifer later. But okay, ADHD, focus tree. Look, come back, girl. Look. So when he asked Jesus, "Did you know?" Basically, he's alluding to the fact that if you knew this was going to happen, why would you let me do this? Right? Why wouldn't you let me know?
Right.
Why did I not have a say in what was about to happen? Right? And so now Jesus is filled with guilt and disdain because he realizes that he has hurt Judas, so to speak, and asks Judas to forgive him. The only way Jesus gets out is for Judas to forgive him. Let that sink in for a minute, because we are constantly told that the way to get to heaven is to ask God for forgiveness for our sins to get to heaven. And he had to ask Judas, the person that we've been thinking is the bad guy since we went to Bible study when we were 2 and had the colorful Bible. Y'all know the one with the zipper and the little lamb. Y'all didn't get that Bible. That was just me. It don't matter. The point is that whole shooketh. I've read the book 4 times. I'm not gonna lie. It shooketh.
So here's one of the differences, right? Like, and this is a theological lens looking through, is as a Lutheran pastor, we don't say you have to accept Jesus for salvation.
Okay.
We don't do the whole you have to pray a certain prayer and accept Jesus as your personal Lord and Savior, so on and so forth. That's not our theological lens. So when I was looking at this, I thought, well, Jesus, the scriptures say Jesus went to hell for basically to break open the gates, so that everyone but you add this idea of him having to seek forgiveness from Judas. I agree with that. He needed to do that. If you think that Jesus knew in advance, which is an interesting thing, right? Because we say Jesus was without sin in his earthly role, but we don't know what that means after.
Well, I think I have a window into that because, and this is not a differing opinion, because I think in my mind, every single one of our views is correct. He had to ask Judas for forgiveness, so TT, you are correct, and this is just my opinion. He's correct. Greg, your synopsis is also correct in the way you're viewing this. But Lucifer also says, "Today you will be with me in paradise," which is what God said to Jesus. Then Lucifer says,
Jesus
said it to
the criminal.
Yeah. So then Lucifer says, "I don't think Jesus knows how the rules work." So then he says, if you want to play Messiah, take on all the sins of men. If you really want to pay that price, you have to pay the price. And Judas looks at him in horror. What have you done? And that's when Jesus falls. And then he says again, I don't think Jesus ever knew this part of the plan. He was not going to paradise today. No, for the first time, he was going to know how it feels, how it really feels to be human. So if you took on all the sin, you're taking the place of a human with sin. after you die. So where do you go but hell? And that
Right.
was, and the only thing that I thought in my comic book brain was Thor. He became too boisterous. He became too arrogant. And Odin looked at him and said, "You petulant boy, I will make sure you are humbled. I will make sure you know what it's like to serve." And throws him to Midgard without his hammer, without his power. And he has to earn that back.
No, I can see that because right after that whole "to be human," you have Judas talking about how he's seen Jesus on Earth, right?
Right.
Through all the emotion, but he's never seen him really just like
Beaten and battered.
afraid
Yeah.
or really truly human.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, even to the point where in the conversation between Judas and Jesus, when he's asking him questions and stuff like that, and I think I made a comment about this before with you, Greg, is Jesus' speech bubbles are in red. So
Uh-huh.
that might mean his voice sounds different. And then it goes from red to regular to black print. So it meant his divinity was waning, and then it kind of made him human at the end, and that was him switching from his divine nature to what he was meant to do before he was elevated or ascended. Um,
Aren't words printed in red in the actual Bible though?
his words, aren't they?
Some of
His word.
Yeah.
some of some of them.
Mm.
But yeah, I thought that bit of artwork was fascinating how they did that with Jesus's words. The art in this book just
Oh, it's
Right.
awesome.
amazing. And you really
It's
have
ama-
to spend time. There's so many layers.
Right. When you're like at 3 minutes per page. Oh my God. It really does add to the story to see the different layers of someone's translation of the story. Like it's almost like if you're reading it as or looking at the pictures as you're reading it, it definitely brings the story to life. That's why I was saying somebody should definitely make this a movie because
Oh,
it's not
definitely.
hard to see when you're looking at the artwork and you're reading the story. Like it's not hard for those pictures to start moving in your head. You know what I mean?
So
And
we do have viewers that just showed up in the Twitch that are making comments, and we have Beanie Baby, and we have Mixed Madness. So we have the visitors, and Mixed Madness says that we're making her question things. So
oh,
that's not what we're
no
here
one
for.
can
It's just a story.
Can I
Good.
can I also say I've read this enough that one of the pages has come out?
gas. The comic blasphemy.
As a
And
collector,
it,
Greg,
I have
as a collector, you just made my soul hurt. My heart just jumped.
I have read this thing so many times that I have that one of the pages
We
came out of its spine.
I'm gonna need you to get Comixology. You can just swipe the screen. Okay,
That's-
you do too much.
Well, see, that's the good thing about trade paperbacks. You can beat these things up and
Right.
just be like, I got my money's worth out of it.
That part. It is a really good book. I found
Madness
myself
says she was already on the edge. She was already on the edge. Her direct quotes are, "Y'all are making me question things. I was already on the edge, people."
come back. Well, go back. It ain't pretty over here. No, I'm just kidding. It's fine. I'm still living my best life. So
Well, and what were you saying, TT? Before I interrupted you, I apologize.
that's funny that you think I remember what I was saying 5 seconds ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the things I'd like to kind of touch on is Lucifer does a whole bunch of stuff to Jesus, and basically he is carried away to the depths of hell. He falls into the pit, and Lucifer, and this is like a shining moment for Judas. So Lucifer says it is finished, or he tells him it's finished, it's done, and Judas says, "Where did they take him?" And then Lucifer tells him, "A pit, a place even I dare not go." And what now? What's going to happen? The story is broken. now we live for ourselves, and that's it. So Lucifer is basically saying we don't have to live for them anymore. We can do what we want. We can do our own thing. We guide our own path, so on and so forth. And Judas is saying, here, like in hell, is that what we're supposed to do? And he's like, this is what we have. This is our freedom. And Judas does not like that. He looks at him with malice in his eyeballs and says, no. And he even interrupts Lucifer, the king of darkness, interrupts him. And Lucifer is just like, Judas, what are you doing? And he's like, no, I don't accept this. And he ventures off the same cliff and just takes a leap of faith to follow Jesus. And then that's when he reaches the depths that Jesus went to with all the dredges of hell that Lucifer himself said he wouldn't even go to. And then that's when one of the scriptures that Greg was referring to comes up. And Revelation 4:6-7 is what they said. And this is where he sees Jesus basically crucified again in hell, just sitting there. And this is where the moment that you were referring to, TT, of Jesus being forgiven by Judas. And I think that's where this comes to the end. And then he ascends. But a big thing about this one is while Judas is doing all this and he's trying to get Jesus down from this place, and he's trying to search for the reason why he's doing this, the person that comes to him was his mother, who is not in solid form in hell, but in like a spirit form. She's in blue. So she's almost like not divine, but she's a gifted person in this place. Or he might just be talking to her in his head. Don't know. But basically, he's saying all this is for naught. I don't know what I'm doing, blah, 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 blah. And then she just coaxes him and says, there's always somebody that needs you. And then it gets him to further on to getting comfortable with the thought of forgiving somebody that basically did the worst thing they could do to him. Or unbeknownst to them. I don't know. It's confusing, even in my head still. And I've had this book for like 2 years, 3 years now.
Right. It really begs the question. It's the way it's written is who betrayed whom, and that's the biggest eye opener as far as reception here is who betrayed whom. Because if you think about Judas, you instantly think about betrayal, but no one associates Jesus with betrayal. Although in Judas's eyes, that's where we're at here. You made it to where this was gonna happen. You knew that this was gonna happen to me, and I'm here for doing your freaking will. Like, who betrayed whom? So, yes, no, I forgot.
It's just like having a friend group. Like, if you know that one of your friends is impulsive and they're going to do something, do you not say something? And if you don't say anything, have you not questioned yourself and be like, man, I should have? Or if something bad happens and you had the chance to tell one of your friends, hey, maybe you shouldn't do this, and then they're hurt mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever, and then you start to blame yourself for, I should have done more, I should have been there, I should have said something, and so on and so forth. So it's kind of like that question. Was Jesus liable or responsible for telling Judas?
Well, I don't know, because the examples you gave are about accountability. If we all at a party and everybody drinking and I tell you the DD and you decide to get behind the wheel anyway, even though you know that I'm the DD, that's accountability. That's on you.
Well,
yes,
yeah,
I might
in that sense.
Put you in the car. But as far as you predetermining that I'm going to betray you and give you up for freaking crucifixion, that's beyond my control. Like, there's nothing I could have done to stop that. Because you already knew that was about to go down. That's not an accountability thing. That's straight up disrespect. Like,
Well, I'm going to add I'm going to throw another layer kind of on that, right? Oftentimes in scripture, the word that can get translated as betrayed for Judas, and Jesus mentions it. It can be applied to it when he gets it's handed over. Jesus hands himself over to the crowd, to the guards.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so if Jesus is, so when I like preside over communion, I don't say on the night in which he was betrayed. I say on the night in which he was handed over, or in the night in which he handed himself over. So now we not only have Jesus, Judas could also then be really just a fall guy, right?
Yeah.
Like he didn't even necessarily do the Jesus. Jesus knew there had to be a handing over. We know that.
Yeah.
Jesus talks about that. So is Judas the betrayer? Is Judas just a fall guy? Is there free will? Is there predestination? If Judas didn't do it, would someone else have done it?
right.
And if no one did it, what would that mean for Christianity? What would that mean for Jesus's story? And that's the comic book doesn't really wrestle with those issues, I don't think too much, but those are some of the questions that rise from this. And then you do have this idea. Paul writes about it in, I think it's Romans, that Jesus had to go into hell to for those souls that were there before the crucifixion.
Right.
So that's what I loved about how the end of this comic, I loved how, okay, now there's someone there that is like you said, Josh, the same coin but different side. So that for me, right, as a person of faith, as a minister, God's work continues even in where people would say it's not
Wouldn't.
possible.
Yeah.
So that's why I really enjoyed it, because look, I
Right.
don't believe there is ever a point in time where God stops trying. Death is not the final say. But that's my pastoral.
Like
But
it definitely brings to light and clarifies the ideal that if you believe in hell and in heaven and hell, it does not necessarily mean that once you get to hell you stop being who you are. So yes, Judas handed Jesus over, but he did all of these wonderful acts of God prior to that point and still landed in the depths of hell. And then here he continues his godly work as if he's not even in the realm of the fallen angels. Like that in itself clarifies the ideals or brings another ideal to the table about what exactly hell encompasses. If we're still going to be ourselves when we're there, then is there a hope to change, or is there, like, what gets you to, y'all, I've been walking around here with the large stick on my shirt. What gets you what gets you to the point to where you are no longer among the fallen angels? Like, I feel like there should be a part two. So
well, maybe there doesn't need to be. Maybe we are the part two.
don't be getting philosophical on me. Wrong.
That's the method of the book. Well, because in what Greg said was like, even in the darkest times, we as people tend to do the things that are the best, not only for us, but for other people. Because even Judas says it here, Lucifer may be right, the story may be broken, but so are we. We sometimes can't control the story that's written for us, but we can have faith. We can have faith that we know what to do. Because I myself am not a church-going person. I wouldn't call myself an atheist, maybe agnostic. I don't know. More science minded. A little green man made us. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway.
Okay.
It's basically not our choice of the story, it's our choice of the reaction to the story.
Yeah.
Will we respond or will we react? And that's pretty much what I got from that last line, because even then when he's walking through and he sees, people in hell battered and bruised and looking very almost demon like, he just picks one up and hugs him and gives him a hug, and then everybody circles around him, and then you see him in the same light that you saw Jesus, with everybody standing around him and one of them at his feet kneeling, and he has the halo, but the halo's not gold, it's black. So he is him and pop culture reference, The Matrix, Neo and Smith. They were two sides of the same coin. They were the same, but they were different. They had, the good and bad dichotomy, or good and bad dynamic, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But
this was.
I don't even.
Go ahead.
So, for those that don't know, on this black circle here is a direct reference to iconography. Jesus is always painted with a golden circle behind his head on Orthodox icons. So this was again part of that artwork that was so intentional.
Mm-hmm.
Judas, occasionally, when Judas doesn't show up in many icons, go figure, he will occasionally have a black circle because of the difference, but the fact that piece of art was carried throughout the entire comic book, I do think was a direct reference to that golden halo that Jesus always has in the icons. And then just those last 4 pages, right? Where that you were referencing, Josh.
Yeah.
Just where Judas is caring about the work.
Mm-hmm.
For they shall be comforted. Blessed are the quoting the Beatitudes, and then ending, for they shall see God, and you have Judas standing there. I feel like Judas hasn't taken on messianic necessarily role, but is certainly a messenger of God in the deepest, darkest pits where sometimes my fellow Christians would say God's word can't go into hell. And once you're there, you're there, you're stuck there. But I will also, let me preface this to say, if there is a hell, I personally believe it's empty. But that's my own theological viewpoint. So I had to suspend that belief with this comic.
Is it getting hot in your closet, TT?
First of all, I was trying to be subtle, man. You just gonna call me out? I didn't want everybody.
Be your own people.
It do be your own people. I didn't want everybody to know I was in the closet.
Hey, we were all here. We echoed our last 2 episodes, so now we just finally fixed that. We growing.
I got a baby sleeping in my room, so I couldn't do it alone.
I'm not complaining. I told you I'd help you outfit your closet.
I'm out here just
have all switches and buttons and look all professional. It looks decorative.
There's a lot of cute things going on in here, but the point of, okay, it's not the point. The point is, I'm hot. I'm expiring in here.
So I have to tell you guys real quick.
What's up?
This for my pastor's book study. We
Yeah.
we do a book a month.
Mm-hmm.
This is this month's book. At the end of March, we are discussing this as my pastoral book club. One of my members has already gotten it and read it. And at our last book discussion where we talked about white fragility, she goes, Pastor, I got the comic book and I read it and I have questions and I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know if I like it. So
It is a very good book. As far as perception, I do like the fact that the entire premise of the book is that good versus evil is never as black and white as we make it seem, and that there is always room for interpretation. Period. You know, have you ever found yourself identifying with the villain and you start questioning yourself, like, wait a minute, am am I a villain? Like,
Do I feel
am I?
this way?
Why do I feel like this? But I mean, I first felt that as a child when I felt so deeply for Ursula. It's another story for another day. The point is, that good and evil, and I teach my children this too, is all about perspective. What you may see as evil, somebody else may see as necessary. You know what I mean? So I love that it touches on that on a biblical level, if you will. It's just um and I'm that Judas is finally being painted in a light where he's not just the guy who betrayed Jesus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we've seen people do their alternate views of Lucifer. If we have free will, then why is everything that you do that's bad Lucifer's fault? You know, things of that nature. But I've never seen anybody or any companies, as far as stories or anything, prior to this one, basically justify Judas, and that was mad dope for me. Mad dope.
And it was good to see another telling of a story. And let me first say that none of this covering this story, even the story itself, is not there for you to question faith. It's a comic book. It's a comic book. Somebody had an idea, wanted to actually. Jeff Loveness talks about it in this graphic novel. Like, he wrote this 10 years prior to ever being printed, and he thought nobody would print it because of the nature of the subject, because this could be deemed as controversial. Then Boom Studios they're just that kind of publisher. They're like, bring it, we'll do it. They do that kind of stuff and that's what I love about certain independent comic book publishers, is they're like, you have a story, if it's good, if it's compelling, if it's good writing, yeah, we'll publish it. Why not?
Definitely.
If it's good and it has the potential for people to buy it, who wouldn't? Regardless of the controversial nature, who wouldn't? Now, there's certain things, controversial or not, don't put out there. Like, But anyway, that's my point is, this isn't to have you question. It's to read a good story. They might use scriptures wrong. The people do it in movies all the time with the military, and it makes me itch in the back of my ear.
Yeah, boo, they use scriptures wrong in church.
So,
but you ain't.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
So,
as I see,
I love that. It makes you think.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
It's just great storytelling and artwork. We've touched on it, right? Throughout this artwork, I wouldn't mind having some of it framed on my, in my office or my home office, because it's just such quality artwork, and even without the words, right? Like, the pictures tell a story. You don't. Yeah.
Well, and there's a set of covers that I actually spent 6 months trying to find. And Greg, I told you about this. And they actually have the art for him, and Jeremy Bastian did them. And it's the old, kind of tapestry art that they put in here.
Like, that's one of my favorites.
This one right here?
Yeah.
Like, Jeremy Bastian is an amazing artist, and Jacob Rebelka, the way he depicts some of the stuff in the book, and even some of the covers, yeah, that's amazing. One has to be my
favorite. Yes, I got the digital version, guys, so I can't share my favorite one. But
oh, okay, I have your address, so That can be handled like right after the show.
Comixology is my friend as far as me not ordering 2.5 million comics. Mind your business. I I got a problem.
You have a problem?
Look,
I don't want you to get that way.
that's my problem. That's why I'm on Comixology, because I have a fear that you and I are gonna become the same person.
Ooh, don't do that.
We don't
There
need
does
that.
not need to be two
How,
of me.
or two of me.
Ugh.
Lord,
Well, I'm a lost cause on that one.
I got a question from TikTok. Can he share the faves in a TikTok? Oh, they want favorite pictures from this.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we'll make a on the
Yeah.
Hero Complex. Not following that TikTok. It's the Hero Complex 20. We will post some pictures of our faves.
Mhm.
I mean, well, screenshots if you will.
Actually, we need to do screenshots of. We will do screenshots of the last Ronin, and we will also put up screenshots of the Soverse books that we didn't discuss the books, but we will post up the Soverse books because
I can't wait till
coming
we do.
soon we will be covering those stories.
Yeah,
And Greg, this will not be the only time you're on the show, so
not.
you will
Well, I appreciate it.
if you have a story that you want to cover, like fully bring it to me and TT. We'll put it on.
Yeah.
And then, Greg, are you a part of the Discord?
Yeah.
I just had.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you join the Discord, those on, yes, I remember that one. Is that one you want to cover?
What is that?
Okay. Okay.
Let me see the whole thing. Scoot it over. This way. The other way. Mm-hmm.
So it's just page. It's Jesus's. It's again Jesus's ministry, but put in modern terms.
Mark,
And modern.
I'm excited. Mark, can you text that to me, Josh? Because I got both of my devices going and I be messed around. Wait, put it
by
down.
Steve Ross.
Marked by Steve Ross.
It's on Amazon. It'll be available March 8th.
Bam.
So I'll send you the link, T. So yeah, we'll cover March with Greg, and then what I was gonna say was if you are not a part of the Discord and you are watching this right now on Twitch or watching it later on YouTube, get a part of the Discord. It is under my TikTok and my link tree. If I can post a link tree on YouTube or Twitch, I will do that also. You can get to the Discord by that. It has an infinite usage invite code. Get a part of it because we want to have conversations started. We want discussions started. You have a top 10 list. You can put your top 10 favorite books. If you have not read and you do not collect and you have never read comic books, you can actually go to the top 10 lists and get other people's top 10s and then read those books. Nobody has done it, so I think I'll start with mine.
You have no idea how to use Discord, neither do I. I just click on notifications. Sorry, someone sent a message. I click on the notifications, baby. That's how I work it. I don't know how.
Well, and then if you want to, you can hit me and TT up at the Instagram, the Hero Complex 20. Send us a message. You want us to walk you through how to use Discord? That way you can be a part of the community. We are not full service. We're here for you. We'll just say that.
Big. Go to Josh first, because if you come to me,
Don't
we
do
gonna get there, baby.
Don't
But
do
we
that.
gonna take the route is what I'm saying. We gonna get a little lost.
You'll get through it together.
We gonna get through it together though, because I'm here for you. Is what I'm saying. I'm here for you. we gonna learn something today.
So, Greg, anything new
Just
on?
real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
It made me think of the Cat Williams. When you call a white person, accidentally call a white person on the wrong number.
Try the number again.
Well,
if you don't get it, call me back. We'll get through it.
Oh, baby. Call back if you try with a 3.
We'll figure this out together. Sorry.
That's just
So-
how we roll.
Greg, anything new coming up for you?
You know, I am developing more of my YouTube, more content. I currently am just posting my worship services,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm going to start posting book reviews on my YouTube channel, as well as maybe doing something similar to this, but more just talking about where people walk on their faith, what their life story is, and I would love to have you guys come and just kind of talk about where you are and your journey. Just to, I think our journeys are what we need to talk about and focus on. So check out my YouTube. I'm building content there.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And what was that? What was the name of your YouTube channel?
Pastor Greg Hartman. I made it simple and easy.
I'm the same across the board. If you can spell my name, you can find me.
After this video, I'll put in the captions or in the comments where you can get Greg, where you can find his YouTube, his TikTok, and his. Are you putting your Instagram out there or no?
No, my Instagram I haven't put out there.
Okay, so YouTube and TikTok, I'll put in the captions. Stay out of his Instagram.
Don't be sliding in the pastor's DMs.
They'll just see when I used to do a bunch of running. That's all they'll see on my Instagram. Hot, sweaty pastor face, not good luck.
Tell me about it. I'm out here sweating out my oils. Jesus.
My
pants.
TT,
Okay.
anything new with you?
No, same old crap, different toilet, baby. Wait. No, wait. Yeah, no, nothing.
So nothing new about things.
Am I supposed to say something here? Because I've...
Yes, we might have T-shirts coming up.
He tried setting you up like 4 times.
Okay,
TT.
run that back.
Come on.
Run that back one more time.
Okay, take two. TT, you got anything new coming up?
Child, as a matter of fact, I do. Okay, because pretty soon we will be having our Hero Complex merch out. I'm excited. Y'all can rock the Hero Complex until we come up with some cute artwork with our faces on it. Because y'all all want a shirt with our mugs on it, right? No, we'll leave it to letters. It's okay. Shirts coming soon, but there will be a limited amount of shirt.
Limited quantity. We will do these to demand. If it gains interest, then we'll do it because it is a small creator that's doing it. We don't want to bog them down.
We decided to use a small business so that we can support 2021 style. So we will only be ordering a certain amount of shirts, and once those are gone, those are gone. So we will let you guys know. We'll make a video. We'll drop that. You got to get in where you can get in. You are also...
Since you're saying this on the episode, then you best put my name down number 3 after you two.
And the fam does not get discounts. See, family always wants the hookup. No, I'm not giving you a discount.
Why y'all always want to hook up?
I love you, but but yeah, we'll have that, and then on as a whole, and this involves TT also, the Hero Complex. We are slowly growing. It's going pretty good. We have Spider-Man Black and Black coming up. We got to plan that one and schedule it, and then we have. I'm continuing the series on my part with Sue Porter. We're doing Comic Talk with a Newbie, and we'll do different stories on that. And then TT herself will be starting a segment on anime. With the first show will be with J Stowe Tiger and Taneva herself. So we will have 2 big cosplayers that are on TikTok, very, very influential cosplayers on TikTok coming up. And then we will have something, it's not really concrete, fleshed out, but, we might have, Soverse Sundays.
Yes, we're still working those out though.
Yes, we're still working the bugs out of that one, but stay tuned. We're gonna have some big stuff coming up with creators, with people in the industry, people in the community, conventions. We have big plans for the Hero Complex, and we can't do it without you guys.
Yeah, which
Um,
brings us to our next thing. I have not talked about this with Josh because I'm impulsive, but he knew that. Accountability. If you were interested in being a part of the Hero Complex, if you want to be on an episode, please feel free to join the Discord and let us know what you want to discuss. And then we will try to get back to you if we haven't already gone there. And maybe if we already have, because it's a multiverse out there, guys.
well, and then on that same, something I've told T, but she forgot. We will make it available to revisit certain episodes. If you want to come on, have an open discussion with the people that were on that episode, we will try and make it available. It depends on the person that was on that episode. Like if you want to talk to Greg about Judas, you're gonna have to fit the man's schedule. He's important. He's kind of a big deal. So
he is a big deal.
So then we will try and make it available because it's. Yes, we do talk about comic books. Yes, we do have a podcast, but we are a community first. The Hero Complex is not a complex without its heroes, and you guys are a part of that. So,
yes. Love y'all.
Thank you, Greg, for being here. I really look forward to having you back and going over Marked. T, as always, thanks for joining the complex. And you guys watching, we love you. Stay on your grinds.
Love y'all.